2001 was a landmark year for console gaming. The PlayStation 2 was redefining what 3D games could be, Microsoft entered the ring with their first console, the Xbox, and Nintendo joined the new generation with the GameCube and their handheld offering, the Game Boy Advance. In contrast, the Sega Dreamcast was officially discontinued in March as Sega shifted its focus to becoming a third-party software developer. These new consoles brought enough power to render fuller and richer 3D environments, especially open worlds. And while franchises like Driver and Shenmue pushed third-person 3D design forward, DMA Design and Rockstar Games wanted to expand on what they created in the first Grand Theft Auto titles, which were top-down, open-ended crime sandboxes built inside a 3D engine. Their goal was to set a blueprint for how open-world games should function going forward, and in the process, they changed gaming forever. That game was Grand Theft Auto 3. My name is OneHip, and thanks for clicking on this video. My first proper dive into third-person GTA was Vice City when it was released, but a couple of high school friends of mine owned GTA 3, and it absolutely blew my mind at the time. After revisiting the definitive edition in 2021, I went back to the original game with that same sense of wonder I had back then. For gameplay footage, I played the PS2 version that I bought during the pandemic, alongside Vice City and San Andreas. To me, this version reflects DMA's artistic vision best, and it's still the most iconic release. Here's my retrospective of Grand Theft Auto 3. Let's go! GTA 3 was developed by DMA Design, a studio originally based in Dundee, Scotland, that relocated to Edinburgh prior to the game's release. The core team consisted of around 23 staff, many of whom had worked on Space Station Silicon Valley and GTA 2, and they collaborated closely with Rockstar Games in New York City. The team included Dan Houser, who co-wrote the story, and his brother Sam, who served as the game's executive producer. DMA had already experimented with 3D technology through Body Harvest and Space Station Silicon Valley, and that experience proved invaluable. After releasing GTA 2, DMA initially decided not to continue the series, and instead began developing a Godzilla-based game. Around the same time, the first tech demo for what would eventually become GTA 3 was created on the Dreamcast in 1999. The game was even planned for release on Sega's system, but DMA's technical director, Obi Vermey, sorry if I mispronounced that one, felt the Dreamcast wasn't commercially viable, despite disagreement from other staff. During this early Dreamcast phase, the team built retail and commercial city blocks, along with vehicles and pedestrians. By early 2001, the city layout, cars, and several weapons were already taking shape. GTA 3 would ultimately become the first game in the series to use the Renderware engine, developed by Criterion Games. Renderware went on to become the backbone of several major 2000s titles. And if you want to know more about that engine's history, I've already covered it in my Criterion video. Microsoft declined the opportunity to make the game an Xbox exclusive, citing concerns over its adult content and lower than expected sales of earlier GTA titles. Development and release timing were also affected by the events of 9/11, and several aspects of the game were altered, toned down, or removed entirely out of respect for the tragedy. On October 23, 2001, GTA 3 was released on PlayStation 2 in North America. A Windows version followed in May 2002, and an Xbox port arrived in November 2003. Later re-releases included a Mac OS X version in 2010, followed by Android and iOS ports in December 2011 as part of the game's 10th anniversary. The game was also included in Grand Theft Auto: The Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, released in November 2021, 2004's GTA Advance, and 2005's Liberty City Stories, expanding the setting with the latter including Tony Cipriani, a member of the Leone crime family in GTA 3 as the game's protagonist, while a direct sequel, Vice City, launched in 2002. GTA 3 would be the final game released under DMA Design, before they were renamed Rockstar North. Upon release, GTA 3 received widespread critical acclaim. Reviewers praised its gameplay, sound design, and immersive open world. It earned numerous accolades from gaming publications, and is widely regarded as one of the most influential titles of the 6th generation, and one of the greatest games of all time. It became the best-selling game of 2001, and one of the PlayStation 2's biggest hits, selling nearly 15 million copies. But despite its massive success, and following the pattern established by earlier GTA titles, GTA 3 also became the center of major controversy. Upon release, GTA 3 sparked a wave of controversies that only heightened its notoriety and cultural impact. Media outlets, academics, legal professionals, family groups, feminist organizations, and psychologists criticized the game for its depiction and perceived glamorization of crime, particularly the ability to commit violence against police officers. I guess many of these critics never played the earlier GTA games. One essayist claimed that the game had no consequences because players could respawn after dying or being arrested, and the Boston Globe argued that players would experience an adrenaline rush from committing criminal acts. Very pearl-clutching takes. In my home country of Australia, the Office of Film and Literature Classification initially released the game with an MA 15+ rating, which was the highest classification available at the time. After a re-review, the game was banned, citing sexual content and the ability to attack ladies of the night, especially after paying for their services and then killing them to retrieve the money. Performing such acts would also increase the player's health, offering an incentive for doing this, which the OFLC also objected to. Take-Two Interactive appealed the decision, but the ban was upheld, leading to a modified version with sexual acts removed. This revised version once again received an MA 15+ rating and went back on sale. And for the record, my copy is the pre-ban version, and it still includes the content the OFLC objected to. Australia wouldn't adopt an R18+ classification for games until many years later. GTA 3 was officially re-rated to R18+ in 2019, citing sexual activities related to incentives and rewards. In Japan, the game was pulled from shelves in the Kanagawa Prefecture in 2005 for being harmful to children, ironically causing a spike in sales once the ban was lifted. In the United States, Walmart introduced an age verification policy, checking ID for anyone who appeared under 17 when purchasing M-rated games like GTA 3. Dan Houser later stated that while the team knew the game could cause offense, it was never marketed for exploitation. Producer Leslie Benzies argued that the game's violence was exaggerated and meant to be humorous rather than realistic. While outlets like GameSpy labelled GTA 3 as the most offensive game of the year, other publications defended it. Kotaku, for example, noted that the game doesn't actually reward players for committing crimes proficiently. The most infamous controversy occurred on June 25, 2003, when teenage stepbrothers William and Josh Buckner shot at motorists in Tennessee, killing 2 people. They told investigators they retrieved rifles from a locked room at their home and began shooting at trucks, claiming they were inspired by GTA 3. A $246 million lawsuit, led by outspoken anti-video game activist Jack Thompson, was filed on behalf of the victims' families against Rockstar, Take-Two, Sony Computer Entertainment, and Walmart, where the boys had purchased the game a year earlier. 4 months later, the plaintiffs filed a notice of voluntary dismissal, and the case was closed. Jack Thompson would go on to devote his career to campaigning against violent video games and other media like rap music. In 2008, he was disbarred by the Supreme Court of Florida for inappropriate conduct, which included making false statements and unprofessional behaviour towards litigants. Despite all the controversy surrounding the game at the time, GTA 3 ushered in industry-defining gameplay and systems that would not only shape future GTA titles, but the entire open-world genre. GTA 3 is set in Liberty City, a major metropolis inspired by New York City and parts of New Jersey, spread across 3 islands connected by bridges, an underground subway, and a tunnel network. Liberty City first appeared in GTA 1 and returned in later games as both a main and secondary location. The islands, Portland, Staunton Island, and Shoreside Vale, each have distinct districts and identities. I'll go deeper into their level design in the next chapter. The game's structure and atmosphere are heavily inspired by crime films like The Godfather, The Warriors, Scarface, Heat, and Goodfellas, as well as television shows such as Miami Vice and The Sopranos. You play Claude, a mute gun for hire with loyalty to nobody. The general consensus in the GTA community is that he and Claude Speed from GTA 2 are different characters who happen to share the same name. GTA 3 opens with its iconic piano theme, as your girlfriend Catalina, leader of the Colombian cartel, betrays you during a bank robbery escape, shooting you and another accomplice before fleeing with Miguel. Claude is arrested and put on a prison bus bound for incarceration. The convoy is ambushed on the Callahan Bridge by the cartel, who destroy the bridge while freeing another prisoner known as the Old Oriental Gentleman. Claude and 8-Ball escape to a Portland safe house in the Red Light District. From there, you take on jobs for the Leone Mafia crime family, the Yakuza, corrupt cop Ray Machowski, deranged media mogul Donald Love, and eventually the Yakuza again, before Claude finally gets his revenge by shooting down Catalina's helicopter with a rocket launcher. He rescues Maria in the finale, and whether he kills her afterwards remains vague.
Can you believe it? This one cost me $50.
Personally, given Claude's cold demeanour and the fact Maria's antics got him marked for death by the Mafia, I'll lean towards yes. As a fun aside for Sopranos fans, Maria is widely believed to be inspired by the character Adriana, who also died off-screen, making this one of many pop culture nods scattered throughout the game. Finishing the story unlocks your final safe house in Wichita Gardens in Shoreside Vale, as well as access to the Rhino tank, found either in Rockford at Phil Cassidy's Army Surplus compound, or at Portland Harbour after obtaining all emergency vehicles in the Import-Export side mission. The game features 51 story missions, activated by stepping into blue mission markers. Each begins with a cutscene, and missions span everything from assassinations, vehicle thefts, escort missions, base defense, and even simple retrieval tasks. There are also 17 optional phone missions, delivered via payphones as a nod to the earlier games, and 4 off-road and remote control challenges, for a total of 75 missions. Some include timers, and most reward you with cash, weapons, or special vehicles. Failing a mission, whether by being wasted, busted, missing an objective, or running out of time, causes you to have to go back to the marker to try again. Progression also unlocks new islands, a design choice I've always enjoyed in the older GTA titles. Some argue that the missions are repetitive, but I've always found that the rough edges created moments of emergent chaos and multiple ways to complete objectives. GTA 3 essentially pioneered sandbox mission design, and even with the lack of polish, it laid important groundwork. Side missions such as Paramedic, Vigilante, Firefighter, and Taxi are all activated by pressing R3 in the respective vehicle. Completing all levels in Paramedic rewards you with infinite stamina, and kill frenzies return as rampages, which can be found by locating markers across the city. And when you're not running missions, you can roam any unlocked area and unleash chaos across Liberty City if you feel like it. Dying respawns you at a hospital with some cash lost and all weapons removed. Being busted does the same at a police station. Claude dies if his health reaches 0, from melee attacks, gunfire, explosions, vehicle collisions, long falls, or drowning. Safe houses allow you to save the game and store vehicles. Income can also be earned from completing side missions, stealing or destroying vehicles, or collecting the 100 hidden packages scattered around Liberty City. And every 10 packages grants you weapons or bonus items at safe houses. An in-game pager shows you messages such as new mission locations and any new items available at Ammunition. The game features a simple but effective economy. Weapons and armor are purchased at Ammunition, or from specific NPCs later in the game. Pay and spray garages repair and repaint vehicles, and 8-Ball's Bomb Shop is a spiritual successor to similar outlets in earlier titles. Future games would expand the economy with items like clothing, property, and vehicle purchases, purchases. But GTA 3 established the foundation for these systems in a fully 3D space. Health pickups are located throughout the city, and adrenaline boosts Claude's melee power while slowing down time. As with earlier games, committing crimes raises your wanted level, represented by up to 6 stars. Police, SWAT teams, and eventually the feds pursue you with increasing aggression. Police bribes reduce your wanted level by 1 star, and completing missions clears wanted levels gained during them, sometimes leading to amusing glitches as pursuing police abruptly disengage. Claude can walk, jog, and sprint, though his stamina depletes quickly. He can fight with fists, melee weapons, explosives, and firearms, ranging from pistols to flamethrowers. Unfortunately, combat is one of the weakest parts of the game. Auto-aim can be stubborn, shooting while moving is unreliable, and these issues caused plenty of wasted screens for me. Vehicles include sports cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, taxis, buses, and emergency vehicles. Boats can be commandeered, including police vessels armed with machine guns. The only flyable vehicle is the small-winged Dodo, which can achieve short flights, and served as a preview of what was coming in Vice City. Helicopters appear in some areas, but they can't be used. Claude can ride the above-ground L train, and later the underground subway to travel between islands. Stunt and unique jumps reward cash based on distance and vehicle rotation. Driving in GTA 3 is generally solid, though cars feel weightless, and can catch fire or explode after only a few collisions or bullets. A common belief is that many missions, especially near the end, are brutally difficult. As a first-time player of the original version, I don't think the missions themselves are as difficult as their reputation suggests. The real challenge comes from janky combat and fragile vehicles, which create artificial difficulty rather than intentional design. Once I learned each island's layout, like where the nearest ammunition or pay and spray was, I found later missions like the notorious Espresso to Go much more manageable. In that mission, the timer only starts when you destroy the first stand, which gives you the opportunity to scout Liberty City beforehand and mark each stand on your minimap, a feature I'll talk about more in the next chapter. I completed it on my first try using a bulletproof Patriot, which I kept for the rest of the game to avoid dying to enemy gunfire. For PS2 players, the original release came with a paper map, something which I failed to mention in my other GTA videos, which also had these. I unfortunately didn't get one with my second-hand copy, but learning each island manually was very satisfying, and by the end of the game, I knew them like the back of my hand. What truly made GTA 3 stand out wasn't its simple but serviceable story, or the mission variety, or even its transportation options. It was the immersion of Liberty City itself. Thank you for still being here with me. If you wish to see more retrospectives like this one, as well as gaming video essays, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on new videos. I really appreciate your support. Anyway, here's GTA 3's level design and visuals. GTA 3's version of Liberty City is the only one in the series that isn't a direct recreation of New York. Instead, it's a hybrid of several mid-American cities mixed with port areas inspired by parts of Scotland. As I mentioned earlier, the city is divided into 3 islands, each with its own identity and game presence. Portland, the starting island, is the industrial heart of the city, with factories, docks, warehouses, and pockets of commercial and residential life. It's primarily based on Queens and Brooklyn. St. Mark's is controlled by the Leone family, while Chinatown is run by the Triads, sworn enemies of the Leones. Their influence weakens after Claude destroys their factory and assassinates their warlords for the Mafia, though they still maintain a presence later in the game. The Diablos, a small Hispanic gang, occupy the Hepburn Heights district. Staunton Island, named after Staten Island and inspired by Manhattan and the Bronx, contains a mix of residential blocks, commercial districts, and financial areas. It's home to Liberty Campus, the Love Media Building in Bedford Point, the Liberty City Memorial Stadium in Aspatria, and the Yakuza-run casino in Torrington, also the gang's territory. The Colombian cartel operate out of Fort Staunton as part of their plan to dominate the Spank drug trade, though Claude eventually helps the Yakuza dismantle their construction site base. The Yardies, a Jamaican gang, control a small portion of Staunton, mostly around Newport and parts of Liberty Campus. Shoreside Vale, inspired by New Jersey, is the final island and features Francis International Airport, the Cochrane Dam, the setting of the game's final mission, and industrial areas like Pike Creek. Wealthier districts such as Cedar Grove sit towards the north, another region influenced by the Colombian cartel. From the moment I started the story, I was completely immersed. As I mentioned in my GTA 1 retrospective, DMA Design always excelled at atmosphere, and in GTA 3 they absolutely nailed it again. Liberty City has become my favourite setting in the series, probably because GTA 4 is my favourite game overall, and I love its brooding, cold, almost depressing tone. The persistent rain, fog, and muted colour palette contribute to a sense of urban decay. Liberty City feels bleak, hostile, crime-ridden, and strangely beautiful, and I enjoyed every moment exploring it as Claude. NPC behaviour is vastly improved from earlier games. Pedestrians can shout, scream, argue, and even fight each other to the death. Ladies of the night will flirt with you as you pass by. In one moment during my playthrough, I flipped one of GTA 3's notoriously flimsy cars, watched it explode, and saw a small crowd gather around the wreckage. In 2025, this kind of ambient behaviour is expected, but seeing it in a 2001 title was mind-blowing. Gang hostility evolved throughout the story. Once certain missions are completed, some gangs will shoot you on sight when you enter their territory. After killing Salvatore Leone, for example, Mafia enforcers in Portland will immediately blast you with their ridiculously overpowered shotguns, capable of blowing up your car in 2 or 3 hits. When I reached the Yakuza portion of the story, I pretty much avoided parts of Portland entirely, unless the mission forced me there, just to avoid getting shredded by the Leone family. The game takes GTA 2's respect system, but removes the numerical tracking, which I actually think gives the world more personality. As expected from Rockstar, GTA 3 satirizes American culture with countless tongue-in-cheek references to pop culture and exaggerated stereotypes. Billboards parody movies like Goodfellas, and company names double as innuendos, such as the security firm Group 6. Visually, the game looks solid for a 2001 PS2 release, and the light trails, an optional effect you can toggle in the pause menu, give the world a distinctive early 2000s aesthetic. While not the strongest in the series, GTA 3's sound design and soundtrack offered a preview of the radio humour and musical identity that later GTA games would perfect. The ambient soundscape in GTA 3 plays a huge role in selling Liberty City as a living, breathing place. The constant hum of traffic, honking, the muffled roar of trains overhead, and the unpredictable chatter of pedestrians all combine to make the city feel genuinely alive. Even when you're not doing missions, you can happily spend hours simply wandering around listening to Liberty City exist. Pedestrian dialogue especially adds personality to every street corner. Like I mentioned before, NPCs can complain, yell, flirt, scream, threaten, or make sarcastic comments as you bump into them, and some can even break into fights. Others panic and run. It's chaotic and immersive for a game from 2001. One of GTA 3's most forward-thinking decisions was hiring screen actors where many appeared in the very crime films that inspired the game. Frank Vincent from Goodfellas and The Sopranos voices Salvatore Leone. Joe Pantoliano, also from The Sopranos, portrays Luigi, your first story contact. The late Michael Madsen plays Tony Cipriani. Kyle MacLachlan voices Donald Love, Robert Loggia plays Ray Machowski, and Michael Rappaport plays Joey Leone. Dan Houser has claimed that over 8,000 lines of dialogue were recorded for the game, an enormous amount for the era. And while I personally wish Claude had at least a few voice lines, his silence does add to his cold demeanour and mystery. It fits the character more than people realise. Inside vehicles, GTA 3 introduced the modern GTA radio system that would later become iconic. You can tune into stations covering everything from techno and drum and bass to hip-hop, pop, rock, classical, dub, reggae, and lounge music. While many songs are from original artists, quite a few were created in-house, particularly for the Lips 106 and Head radio stations, by DMA Design with the help of other musicians. There's nothing like blasting early 2000s trance on Rise FM while tearing down the streets in a stolen Banshee. You'll also hear ambient music in certain locations, like the piano pieces playing inside Salvatore's hillside mansion. Flashback 95.6, a retro pop station, directly references Scar Scarface, with tracks like Push It to the Limit by Paul Engerman and She's on Fire by Amy Holland. On Xbox and PC, you could even create your own custom radio station called CD Changer on Xbox and MP3 player on PC, something I wish more modern GTA games still offered. And of course, there are many commercials satirizing American culture in between radio segments. The soundtrack is limited compared to later entries, and you'll hear the same songs repeatedly, but the fact that stations pause exactly where you left them when you exit a vehicle was a clever touch and surprisingly forward-thinking for 2001. This was also the game where Laszlo Jones made his series debut, hosting Chatterbox FM as a fictionalized version of himself. I spent a lot of my playthrough listening to his chaotic callers, Liberty City's most colourful characters, rant about everything from conspiracies to failed relationships. One caller, Colonel James P., complains that nobody remembers the Australian-American War, only for Laszlo to flatly reply that he's never heard of it. Moments like Laszlo's awkward run-ins with recurring radio personality Fernando Martinez genuinely made me laugh out loud. For a 2001 game, GTA 3's sound design wasn't just functional, it was foundational. It set the blueprint for the atmosphere, radio culture, voice talent, and satirical humour that would define the series moving forward. Despite its issues with fragile vehicles and clunky combat, I genuinely loved my time with GTA 3, and its impact on the industry is undeniable. Grand Theft Auto 3 didn't just redefine its own series, it reshaped the entire landscape of modern gaming. Before its release, open-world games existed, but none offered the level of immersion and freedom that Liberty City delivered in 2001. Everything about GTA 3, from its mission structure and radio stations to its living city and cinematic presentation, became the template that countless games would follow. The idea of a fully 3D, open-ended crime sandbox with branching missions, ambient events, radio satire, and reactive NPCs was revolutionary. Rockstar took the DNA of the earlier GTA titles and translated it into a world that felt alive, dangerous, unpredictable, and exciting. GTA 3 walked so future open-world titles could run. The ripple effects of what DMA Design, soon to become Rockstar North, created here can still be felt nearly 25 years later. The game also marked a turning point for storytelling in open worlds. Claude's silence, whether intentional or circumstantial, added an unusual mystique. Meanwhile, the supporting cast brought the city to life through strong performances and memorable personalities. GTA 3 proved that open worlds could support narrative momentum without sacrificing player freedom, something that was far from guaranteed at the time. Its controversies also contributed to its legacy. Whether fair or not, the criticism, moral panic, and legal battles cemented GTA's reputation as a cultural lightning rod. In many ways, GTA 3 helped push gaming into the mainstream conversation, forcing discussions on issues such as artistic expression, censorship, and the responsibilities of game developers. The discourse surrounding the game became part of its identity, and later entries in the series would embrace and respond to that scrutiny in their own satirical ways. Even the game's technical limitations, like its short draw distance, stiff combat, and fragile vehicles, have become part of its charm. As rough as those elements are today, they also highlight just how ambitious this project was. The foundation Rockstar North laid with GTA 3 was so strong that the studio would spend the next decade iterating on systems first introduced here. Most importantly, the game still holds up as a historical piece. Things like the atmosphere, radio stations, world design, and sense of place remain compelling even in 2025. You don't play GTA 3 for perfect mechanics. Rather, you play it to feel the moment gaming changed forever. Looking back, GTA 3 is more than just an influential title. It's a landmark in gaming history. It represents the moment when the medium made a massive leap forward, evolving from linear experiences into something far more dynamic and player-driven. And for a studio with just over 20 people, that's an achievement that can't be overstated. And for me personally, despite its flaws, the PS2 version of GTA 3 was a joy to experience. It reminded me of how far games have come, and how one bold, incredibly ambitious project from Scotland helped change the future of open-world design. Thanks for watching. What are your memories of GTA 3? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on upcoming content. And by the way, if you're planning to grab your next PC game or bundle, consider checking out Fanatical. They offer officially licensed Steam keys, often with serious discounts. You can use my affiliate link in the description. It won't cost you anything extra, and it directly supports the channel so I can keep making videos like this. Thanks as always for your support. Thanks also to my current channel members for supporting me further. There are links to this and my Ko-fi donation page in the video description. My name is OneHip, and you have a good one. Bye!